my mom was started the house. She even visited with the house ministry they had, and then they went down to the church. Well, they held a church down at the Memorial Hall for his veterans now, and Mama was from in the house thing. So I don't know when those house ministries started, the date, but Mama was pregnant with me before this building was built even, and I think I was born in 38, so I don't know just when they actually had their first service here.
I'm Kenneth Vanderwall, and I've been coming to this church since I was about 3 years old, and I'm 80 plus now, so I've been here a day or two.
Hi, I'm Patty Eagle Woods. I used to be Eagle, went to this church. I was born and raised here, so that was in 55.
I'm Tina Waylett, and I started coming to this church in 1968 after my husband Randy and I got married. And my husband was raised in this church as a younger kid, and we never missed, hardly ever did we miss, church and stuff. I was the church secretary and administrator for John Young, Pastor Ken Nielsen, and David Wilson.
One of the things that I remember most is the number of kids that were coming to this church. It just seemed like the church was full of kids. There weren't, I don't know, maybe it's because I don't remember it, but it seems like there was more kids coming than there were adults.
Really, one of my first remembrances is being so little, seeing all these friends of my brothers and sisters in this church. And I remember right where they sat and all these teenagers, and that's what I remember. And I remember the band. Oh, I was always going to be in that band when I grew up. I had a brother and two sisters that played in the band, multiple instruments, and so those things were one of my first remembrances, yeah.
So this building, the way it is set up now, it used to have the wooden theater chairs, and you could easily get stuck with those. It would be hurtful, but anyway, they had big benches, wooden benches in the back, and a wooden bench along the side here we had a piano and a little orchestra, which was, banjos and guitars and horns, and anyway.
In here, yes, this was, however, we did not have a basement. And I remember, I don't know when that basement was completed, but the church was above ground, and I remember this little girl thinking, ooh, that looked scary looking down there. And I don't know how they dug that out and got with the building on top, but we were here before that basement.
Some of the younger kids, they like to play jokes on people, and a couple of them got together, and what they would normally put in the offering plate, they did it in pennies. And it wasn't just $1 or $2, it was several dollars. And then they had to count it all when they did count for the offering. So they got a good chuckle out of that one.
And I think one of my good memories is Jeanette Vanderwall, and several others, Patty Woods. We all became such good friends. We became sisters. In fact, Winston and Eileen adopted a few of us, said that they were our parents, and which was kind of nice because when I moved here, I didn't have anybody but my husband. And so it was really cool to have the relationships, and then to see that our relationships are still continuing on because of the grace of God. And so, yeah.
I just remember, I was thinking about the names of the people that I first, and I was really little, and I remember like Mrs. Stockwell and Flossie Earl and her husband that were here, and the Laymans, that he got saved through the home meetings that they had. And once he got saved, if he wasn't eating or sleeping, he was here working on this church.
My memories, and some of the fun things we did running around the church on the off days, because my family was always personable with every pastor that came along, so we hung out together quite a bit. And so I would do praise and worship, and I'd do it just like she did, and we'd play preachers, and I wanted to play the piano. I probably sounded horrible, but anyway, that's kind of how it went. And yeah, kind of old school. But then as like I say, I kept going to this church, and Bob and I became youth pastors, I guess, just not paid, but volunteer youth pastors, and we had youth group and did different things with the community, and got to be involved with other churches in Shelton that did have paid pastors that could help organize, and it was a lot of fun. We took the kids to Generation Unleashed, and we had our own actually little Generation Unleashed in Shelton at the high school auditorium. So those were fun days, and we had church out at Mason Lake, and the youth group would do the service and do skits, and we had baptisms and that kind of stuff. So that was a lot of fun. But we did that for 20 years, and then we were going, okay, that's enough. Anyway.
This church is just an awesome church, and never left it. You know, even if you don't agree with 100% of what the pastor is doing, if God has called you here, you need to be here. And you need to be faithful in your tithe and all that stuff, and to serve where you can serve. I did teach Sunday school at my younger generation, but when I went through the gift testing, teaching is my lowest thing. And so I did it out of a need, not out of a calling. And so I do believe that you need to ask God where you need to fit in, because all of you are here, and everybody has a calling to put into your life. So decide, ask God where you belong.
Debbie Cadoon, and I started coming here when I was 29 years old, and it was from a dark place, a dark time in my life, and I really had no regard for life. I tried to take my own life, and so I was in a hospital, and this little old man in the hospital told me, "Young lady, God loves you." And that was like on Good Friday of 1996. I was 29. And I said, "Who's this God? I don't know who God is." And so I got out of the hospital, and I went, I guess I better go to church. It's going to be Sunday. Where do I go? Who do I call? I don't even know where to go to church. But I had a friend, Crystal, who had been coming to church, I knew, because she babysat my daughter. And I called her up and said, "Hey, can I go to church with you?" And she said, "Yeah." So I came to Shelton Foursquare on Easter of 96. And Pastor John was here. He gave an altar call. And they were singing songs like, "Our God is an awesome God." And I'm like, I didn't know any of the songs, but I was a bucket of tears. And when he gave the altar call, I was so compelled. I couldn't get up there fast enough. I think I floated. And I suddenly felt Crystal's hand on me, praying and weeping. I was already weeping. Pastor John just led me through the sinner's prayer. But I knew that there were other people from the church that were behind me with their hands on me, and I just went, wow, okay. Well, I would later find out that Crystal had put my name in the intercessory fish bowl for a prayer request in 1991. So 5 years prior, the prayer team had been praying for me. And I came here in 96, got saved. And then, of course, life happens, and between Arizona and Washington State, Issaquah, church hopping life, I came back here in 2021, and then I got a job here in 2022, and 25 years later, look, I'm still here.
I think, for one thing, that we would be a lighthouse and a blessing to this community, that they'd see Jesus from the people that attended here. And do you know that the prophetic words have been that we would be a lighthouse on the top of the hill, a lighthouse to this city. Also, the prophetic words that we would be a hospital for the wounded and the broken. And I believe all those prayers have been answered, and the prophetic words have been spoken since then. So that's definitely, and I mean, I think that's still our prayer today. God, let us be the Jesus to this community. Let us bring that healing to the brokenness. Let us be the lighthouse, the harbor for safety. I think that's our prayer yet today.